This project has a lot of appeal to me, basically for three reasons. The first one is the historic nature of this. I've been a longtime advocate for this particular site, and part of the issues at the Sounds we had to resolve before we moved forward was actually where we'd build a ballpark. And I felt more strongly as my time in office has gone on that this was exactly the right place for us to do it. This is where baseball has historically been played. The history contains Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Jackie Robinson. I mean, it's incredible. And it's just the right spot in order to honor that history and I think to engender more excitement about baseball, which is a good thing to do. I'm also very interested in the connectivity and what it does for our downtown. We have, during my time in office, as a city and the private sector with the Country Music Hall of Fame, the Omni, other hotels, our work on the Korean Veterans Boulevard and, of course, the Convention Center, we have invested as a community about $1 billion south of Broadway. And so it seemed to me that if we were going to do another project, that the right place to do it was in the northern part of downtown, and I really wanted to do a project that would be on Jefferson Street. And that's the right thing to do, but it also allows us to connect the city together better. It activates Bicentennial Mall in a way that has never been activated in terms of drawing people to it. With the Greenway and with the park, it'll be a destination. It'll be a place where people from downtown can walk there. They can get on our free buses to get there, and our free buses will be electric buses in about a year under a federal grant we got. And folks on Jefferson Street and in Germantown, Salemtown, it's easy to walk to. And then the issues surrounding the parking, which obviously serves the state but also serves us. We will have very convenient parking that will allow people to come to the stadium. So that connectivity, bringing the city together more, is very important to me. But the third is connected to this one, which is ultimately the investment in North Nashville, which I think is just vital for the city. It's $150 million. As best we can tell, it's the largest investment made in that area. It's an area that needs it, that's going to benefit from it, and that benefit will be felt throughout the city. I want to say really that the cooperation we've received from Embry has been outstanding. I mean, they were well along on a project that they were going to move forward with, and they stopped, worked with us, and without that piece, we wouldn't have been able to go forward. And they have a need to complete their deal by the end of the year, and so that's part of the reason that we're on this accelerated path right now. The Sounds have been very good. I think Gail wrote about this. I mean, the key moment in all this really was, and it's got some poetic justice to it, was opening day. We had been talking with the old owners of the Sounds, and that got nowhere, and they sold, and they had very unreasonable expectations. The new owners came in with a great attitude. They invested in Greer Stadium. They really did almost everything we asked them to do. And then we had discussions several years ago about building a new ballpark. And the ballpark discussions didn't move forward because really an inability for us to agree on where it would be located. And I went out to Greer in April to throw out the first pitch, and I did the best that I could, but I did. Yes, thanks. Yeah, very good.
7-mile-an-hour fastball.
Well said. Anyway, so when I get there, I get out of the car and I'm going into the office part of the stadium, Greer Stadium, and Frank Ward is there, who is the principal owner. And Frank is a man of very few words, and he's very direct. And so he's waiting for me at the door, and he just said, "Mayor, I agree with you on Sulphur Dell. That's where it should be." And really what happened was he had spent some time driving around the city. His son, who is active in real estate development, came down and said, "Dad, this is a pretty cool area. This is a good place to be." And so once that was said, we said, let's keep talking. We got everybody involved, and then it started moving forward. And then I really need to say thank you to the state. The governor has been great. Once we started talking, he was very helpful. The members of the building commission, the speaker, the lieutenant governor, and the other constitutional officers were very cooperative, open-minded, and they obviously protected the state's interests. They did their jobs, but they went into it with the attitude that if we work together, we get something done. And so I think it's a pretty good. It was a good day for the city when we were able to work that out. The TPS property, as Rich mentioned, that's important to us. That really is. The Nashville School of the Arts is a sort of a jewel in the crown of our school system. And it needs attention, it needs work, and this gives us the opportunity to do that. We had been looking, as Rich mentioned, for a way to get that property, and it wasn't through any lack of cooperation. We were just unable to find a good matchup on our property versus the state until this transaction came along. And then I'm very, this transaction meets the requirements that I had for a ballpark, which is essentially the Sounds have skin in the game, that there be big contributors, and that it not be a burden for the city. I mean, this, as I said, a new ballpark is nice. It's a good thing, and this will be great for the city, but it's not an absolute necessity. But by the way this is structured, the cost to the city in terms of actual revenue year in and year out is minimal. And I think it's the impact it will have on Jefferson Street makes it more than worthwhile. So that's basically why we're for this transaction.